Hello, America. Happy Friday. Yes, we made it through a crazy week that started with a historic peace deal, ended with the possibility of peace between Russia and Ukraine with a big meeting today and a whole lot in between, including 3 major indictments. I'm your host, John Solomon. As you know, this is the Just the News, No Noise television show, but I'm not in Washington, D.C. like I normally am. I'm in Orlando at the Moms for Liberty conference here. An amazing day I spent here meeting some of the new young voices of the conservative movement. I even met a woman who is a liberal who came here because her own views are changing, she said, and she's been canceled for questioning liberal heterodoxy. It's been an amazing day. I'm going to get you caught up real quickly on the headlines, and then we're going to turn you out to Amanda Head, who's in California at an amazing backdrop at Camp Pendleton. We're going to bring her in a second. But first, the news. Today, President Trump met with President Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president. They had a working lunch trying to get towards that elusive peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. President Trump made one thing clear today. He's not ready to give long-range, high-powered Tomahawk missiles to the Ukrainians. Said it's just not the time now. He hopes he can get to peace before that. Now, before this happened, President Trump had a very productive meeting with President Putin in Russia. I had a chance to talk to the president for a little bit this morning. He was very confident that Putin's in a little bit different state of mind and maybe in a way that could potentially lead to a real deal, not just a promise of a deal. That was really important. We'll get you to one of those indictments also, because today the former National Security Advisor John Bolton appeared in court charged with 18 federal felonies, most of them violations of the Espionage Act, for mishandling classified information. He pleaded not guilty. This is going to be a difficult and long case for him and his family because his family's involved. The allegations are he moved classified information and other sensitive information to family members via email. Some of that information eventually got intercepted by our enemies in Iran. So a very big case, so we're keeping a close eye on that. For all the headlines, go to justthenews.com. We got you covered. Now, I want to bring in my amazing co-host, Amanda Head. She is at Camp Pendleton. Tomorrow is the 250th birthday of the U.S. Marines. I am so proud to know many great Marines that I live across the street from them. I go to the barbershop with them. I love them, and we honor you on your 250th birthday. Amanda, I wish I was there with you. I'm a little jealous of that backdrop.
Yeah, the backdrop is spectacular. The weather is made to order for such a wonderful weekend. Tomorrow is going to be incredible, John. We've got all sorts of military equipment that's going to be here. C-130s, FA-18s, F-35Cs. There's going to be flyovers. There are going to be amphibious demonstrations, HIMARS. It is going to be incredible, an incredible show of strength and might and unity, by the way, between the United States Marine Corps and the Navy. A lot of people know of their very close coordination in a number of wars, Vietnam, World War II, of course, our wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. So they were setting up today, John, and we were there on site doing our media and equipment setup. Or my guys were. I wasn't really helping all that much. It was amazing to see the production. I think it is definitely on par with the Navy's 250th. The Army as well in Washington, D.C. There are going to be a lot of folks here, obviously Vice President J.D. Vance, the Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, and a lot of other dignitaries who are going to be here speaking. So it's going to be pretty much an all-day affair going up until about 4 p.m., and we're going to have live coverage of that right here on Real America's Voice. And like I said, I can't wait to be here. Southern California weather this time of year is just amazing. It's warm, it's breezy, and we are right here on the coast at Camp Pendleton. It is quite picturesque.
Well, we got both coasts covered. 2 amazing locations, by the way, tomorrow all day.
That's
live
right.
coverage, folks, here on Real America's Voice. Moms for Liberty in the morning, out to Camp Pendleton with Amanda in the afternoon for that spectacular celebration to anyone who wore the uniform in the service of this country, and particularly to all those who are proud Marines. We honor you today, and we thank you for your service. All right, we've got a great show for you today. We had that incredible interview with FBI Director Kash Patel a couple days ago. People still talking about that. Today we got one of the greatest voices I know when it comes to helping us understand what's going on in the FBI and law enforcement. He's the retired FBI Executive Assistant Director, and he's the author of one of my favorite books, Wanted, the FBI. I want to. So many agents I know have read that book, and they agree with it. He's our good friend, Chris Paiota. Chris, good to have you on, sir.
John, pleasure to be with you this evening.
Yeah, we love having you on. All right. We had a lot of nuggets in our interview with Kash Patel. I thought one that was most telling and has gotten a lot of buzz today is him saying that they found more examples of criminal behavior, weaponized criminal behavior by law enforcement and intelligence personnel in the United States government. He expects more indictments in the next few months. He said by the year's end, there'll be quite a few. The idea that we're getting to the bottom of it, punishing the things that deserve to be punished, getting rid of the things that don't deserve to be punished and not deal with them anymore, kind of a big moment of accountability, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think Director Patel and the people of the FBI are committed to setting things straight, putting the FBI back on the right track with the American people, and reestablishing that trust and confidence that people used to have in the FBI. It's going to take them a little bit of time, though, John, because they have to go through a lot of documentation. They have to look at the circumstances that existed, and they have to look at what the outcomes of certain I guess you can say referrals and prosecutions could be. So they're on the right track, and I'm glad to see that they're bringing some accountability.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Chris, how do folks who are supportive of this administration, this FBI administration, how do they dispel what we are constantly hearing from the left, including John Bolton, that this is a witch hunt, that this is weaponization? How do we dispel that?
All right, so I'll try to get that to you, Chris. It sounds like we couldn't write that audio right. But Amanda asked, how do we begin to dispel that distrust in the American public with the FBI, and also to reinstill trust in the agents on the front lines that they're going to do the job the way the book says it should be done?
Well, first of all, it's going to be done through action and deed. What you're going to see is the FBI operating in a manner that is honest, and objective, and apolitical, and professional. That's what it's going to take, and it's going to have to be all the time, every time. And the culture of the FBI is being shifted right now by the director and the senior leadership of the organization. They have to be uncompromising in their standards and expectations for FBI agents to conduct their business on behalf of the American people, in line with the Constitution, and in the service of the laws of our country. So it's going to take some time, but I think if they keep hitting the marks and they keep pushing hard, they're going to be able to reinstill that confidence and look for that respect that the organization once had, that previous leadership squandered.
Yeah, so important. I think we got Amanda back. Amanda, you want to see if we can chime you in here?
Yeah, I would love to ask you about Antifa, because one of the things that we spoke to Director Patel a few nights ago about was, obviously finding the money trail, and practically any criminal organization or something that you suspect to be a criminal organization, you got to follow the money. And he indicated to us that he was getting closer and closer to reaching that source. If he does get there, and it seems that there is some type of mechanism, some type of infrastructure to these protests, to the people who are funding them, does that open up RICO charges?
It could. It depends on how they want to try and take the organization on. What you're looking at is the investigative effort is going to identify logistical, funding, and facilitation networks. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for people who make these groups operate. And then they have to decide whether they're going to go for some shorter-term tactical interruptions or interdictions, or are they looking for an entire enterprise takedown, which will take them a little bit more time, but it could destroy the organization from the inside, taking away their resources, taking away their training and their facilitation. And I'm sure there's going to be a balance of that, and I'm sure that the investigative strategy and then the intent of what they're going to do to prosecute is being worked out now between the FBI and Department of Justice.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing. And for a while, people were saying, oh, Antifa's not an organization. Well, I got news for folks. Last night, the Justice Department charged a cell of Antifa with clear crimes of terrorism. They have the names. They have the command structure. They have the acts that occurred in that terror attack. It's time for people to stop lying about Antifa. It's amazing. Chris, I want to turn to something that Kash said in the interview. He said that the key to what he wanted to achieve with the FBI was something very simple: let good cops be cops. Get out of the way, get the politics, and let them solve crimes. He said that's how we caught Charlie Kirk's assassin in just 33 hours. It's how we took 19,000 people off the streets who were violent felons during this important summer operation. What is your sense of the men and women of the FBI right now? Are they feeling like they're able to do their job without worry about the politics anymore?
I think the new leadership has moved them away from some of that political, I would say, distraction that they had over the past few years in the peripheral matters of DEI and other things. And I think what you see is the effectiveness of the FBI when they're allowed to be the FBI, and whether or not Director Patel is prioritizing or putting his boot in some tail ends. The FBI is effective when it's allowed to be effective, and the FBI is the home to some of our best manhunters in the world. So you're seeing the FBI right now take direct action against crime in our communities. And you saw over the course of the summer, the Director Patel gave a rundown of the statistical accomplishments, remarkable work by the men and women of the FBI, as well as their law enforcement partners. So letting the FBI be the FBI brings great results.
Chris, you spent so many years at the agency, and I'm really, really disheartened and concerned to see what we saw apparently out of Chicago, where you had city leadership who was pressing down on local law enforcement to not coordinate with federal law enforcement, in this case ICE, in most of the situations. When you look at that relationship, because Director Patel indicated to us that when they speak to rank and file officers in those cities like Chicago PD, that the rank and file, they do want to coordinate with federal law enforcement. It's basically the bureaucrats, it's the suits at City Hall that are pushing against this. Are you concerned that that type of mentality in City Hall is going to propagate to other cities and therefore obstruct federal law enforcement?
I think what you're seeing is a breakdown in the law enforcement enterprise due to ideological beliefs and politics. And those two factors, ideological beliefs and politics, have no place in the law enforcement enterprise. When law enforcement is enforcing the laws of our nation and they need help from each other, that has always been an unspoken rule that was sacrosanct, that whenever another law enforcement officer was in trouble, you went to help. And the fact that I guess it was the chief of patrol stood people down while ICE was being attacked was disgusting, and it was so disappointing to see. It shows how our law enforcement community has been infiltrated by what I would consider to be low-quality leaders or non-leaders, and we have to get rid of those folks. And I hope that swift action is taken so that type of behavior doesn't show up in other cities.
Yeah, so important to eradicate it. There's no doubt. I want to ask you a little bit about the news of the last 24 hours. The third major accountability indictment in the last month: James Comey for lying, Letitia James for alleged bank fraud today. John Bolton stood in a courtroom charged with 18 felonies, saying he mishandled the most important secrets that he was entrusted as a national security advisor. I think you've had a chance to look at this indictment. It's pretty serious allegations and pretty extensive behavior. Could you handicap it a little bit for us, Chris?
Well, what you're looking at is a senior level official who, on his own volition and knowingly, transmitted classified information across non-secure systems, and then he maintained information of a classified nature at his residence, not authorized to have that information, and he violated the Espionage Act. It's pretty straightforward. Now, I will tell you that he, as a former national security advisor, as well as he was the ambassador to the UN. So he had received numerous counterintelligence defensive briefings and security briefings, and he still decided to do this, which to me abuses the trust of the American people, and it shows poor judgment. And as this court case moves forward, I think, as you said earlier, it'll be a long courtroom experience for him and his family members. And I'm just sorry to see that our senior officials, sometimes they don't set the example for the rest of the government folks. And, he's going to have to be, I guess you can say, I hate to say punished, but he's going to have to suffer some consequences for those actions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Justice,
Some of that
good-old-fashioned
information
justice
allegedly
for
got to our enemies
whatever
in
is found
Iran.
out. Yeah. Chris, before we let you go, I wanted to ask you, when President Trump came into office and FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino came in, one of the ideas that I think would be very, very successful in restoring trust to the FBI and bringing it back to its roots of just good cop work, that was taking people out of Washington and moving them out into the communities. Have you seen that happening to the degree that you would like to see it? Is it successful? Is it bearing fruit?
I think what you're seeing is under the direction of Director Patel, you're seeing much more community level engagement and operations by the FBI, especially during this past summer initiative. So you're seeing him move resources to the issues and the problems and the crime elements that are affecting people's day-to-day lives. And he has to balance that with the larger strategic issues, such as the national security mission. You're looking at the counterterrorism, counterintelligence issues. And he's got a difficult job to balance those two competing programs, crime versus national security. But I do see that he is moving those resources into the community. I just think I knew from the beginning when he was talking about it that it would take him some time to move those resources, to integrate them into operations, and to start augmenting effectively the work of the field offices. So they're moving in that direction. It's just going to take him more time than I think people understand from a logistical perspective to make that happen completely.
Chris, I have a funny feeling there'll be a sequel to your book called Got It, the FBI I Once Knew. We may got it back. I hope we get it there. It's always a great honor to have you on, and thank you for writing that book. I can't tell you the number of agents that come up to me and say how much they love what you said, the courage you showed writing that book. Great to have you on the show, my friend. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, one of the super moms here. She's been one of the driving forces behind Moms for America. She's also doing incredible work at the America First Policy Institute. Our good friend Erica Donald's next, right after these messages. Hey, folks, if you snore and your partner hasn't moved to another room yet, congratulations. You've either found true love or your partner has no other place to go. Let's talk about what your partner really wants in bed. Silence. Stop keeping them awake from your snoring and giving them 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Zipa is the only FDA-approved and patented anti-snoring solution invented by a leading sleep doctor that stops snoring at the source. Zipa has a 91% success rate backed by a 91-night sleep guarantee. That's pretty great. For a limited time, go to zipa.com and use the code JTN or text JTN to 511-511 and get the absolute best solution, guaranteed to stop your snoring with a Happy Z pack and save over 24% off. Plus, Zipa will donate $10 to breast cancer research. Visit Zipa, ZYPPAH.com. Use the code JTN or text JTN to 511-511 and save over 24% off with the Happy Z pack and start improving your sleep health today. That's a good thing. Remember, Zipa is Happy Z spelled backwards. Text fees may apply.